Horford played in overtime last night. Overtime. Come into your building and knock your doors off. I mean, you want to know where your Kings are? They're a good team, but they're not at the next level. The Celtics, Ryan, are at the next level.
They're at a completely different level, Grant. Every player on that team knows their role. They play their role perfectly, whether their best players are playing or not. And coaching-wise, they targeted the Kings' mismatches tonight. Just a beautiful night for the Celtics altogether.
22 of 42 from beyond the arc. The Kings shot the ball very well from beyond the arc, but they played a team that's better than they are.
Yeah, and that's what's scary about it, because it's not even close. And the Kings shot the ball pretty well, and it almost felt like there was no chance for the Kings in the second half. Only 14 points from De'Aaron Fox, Keegan Murray, and Domantas Sabonis in the second half. Not going to live with that. They didn't show up. Bench really wasn't there for the most part, Grant. I mean, it's just shown what we've known about this team. It's a very good team, but Grant, this is an incomplete Kings team.
Yes, it is. And that's why I think Monty McNair's got to do some shopping here at the trade deadline. I mean, I really do. And, you know, the Kings got out-rebounded tonight, all right? And there were just some areas that you look at. I guess if you're Sacramento, you could not have had the table set any better than you had it for this game. Big game, measuring stick game, number one team in the East, maybe in the whole league. Played in overtime last night, okay? Their best player got hurt, came back and played, but with an ankle, did not play tonight. Al Horford, who played 38 minutes last night, did not play. Yeah, you get Porzingis back, but you're at home and you're not even competitive in the second half. This game got away from the Kings with about 5 minutes left to go in the first half. You could start seeing the momentum change towards the intermission, and it never stopped from there. In the middle of the third quarter, the game was over. It was over.
Yeah, don't quote me. I think the Kings were up 12 at one point, too, in the first quarter, so don't discount that. But, yeah, Grant, I mean, the Kings came out, and they had no answer defensively for the Celtics whatsoever.
No.
And they didn't adjust either in the second half. I mean, you're playing off Porzingis because you don't want him to drive to the hoop because you don't have size down there, but yet you're leaving him wide open you're giving him that extra space to do what they wanted to do. And the Kings didn't do that one time tonight.
Says Grant, you still think the Kings are a championship team? I've never said the Kings are a championship team. So you must have a Grant and this Grant confused. I've never said the Kings are a championship team. All right, Barnes and Herter, where the hell are you? Well, we've been talking about that all year. You know, Boston looks even better than last year. Right now, they do, but, we talk about matchups. This is just not a good matchup for Sacramento. It's just not. Oklahoma City is a good matchup for Sacramento.
Hold on. Why is this not a good matchup for Sacramento tonight?
Because they do what the Kings do better. You said that to me before we came on. They're better. Their best players are better than the Kings' best players. That's just the way it is, with the exception of maybe Fox. I mean, you could argue Fox, Tatum. He's been in the NBA Finals. He's been, again, that's debatable, and they play different positions. But you're not going to take Sacramento's roster over Boston's. Nobody would.
No, you wouldn't take Sacramento's roster over Boston's, but when I look at the stars, there's not a big difference. Now, they don't match up well physically when you look at Fox and a Tatum. But when I look at the role players for this Celtics team, again, we hit it on in the top. They do whatever their role is perfectly. Look at Peyton Pritchard. Look at what he did from beyond the arc tonight. Look at Derek White. Anybody hear him before tonight? And now we're sitting here we're talking about Keegan Murray, or not Keegan Murray. We're talking about Harrison Barnes, Kevin Herter. What are their roles on this Kings team? Those are two starters. We can go down the list on the bench too, Grant.
Okay, well, what their roles are, they're not delivering on what their roles are. Their roles, we know what their roles are, but there are too many nights when they're not doing their job. They're not delivering on what their roles are. How many times have you and I come on at halftime? How many times have you and me come on at halftime and postgame talking about the ineffectiveness and the inconsistency of those two that you just named? Would you say 75% of the games? I would say it's probably
I
75%.
think that's fair. Yeah, that's completely fair.
I mean, and here's the other deal. You got a night where the Timberwolves lost, okay?
Yep.
You got a night where the Lakers lost.
Lakers.
You got a night where the Rockets lost. You got a night where the Mavericks lost, and you can't take advantage of that because you get your doors blown off. And here's the other deal. Now all of a sudden, guess who's ahead of you in the West? The red hot sizzling Clippers, who have now won 9 in a row. 2 of those 9 wins, by the way, are against the Kings during that streak. They are now ahead of Sacramento at 17-10, and the Kings are 16-10. So for all intents and purposes, they're even. The Clippers have played one more game, but I'm just illustrating what the situation is now with the Clippers, who are now, they're right there.
Playing great. Yeah. They're playing great basketball. Some mind-blowing numbers about their last 10 games. You can go look those up on the X. But it's not just the loss, Grant. You're right. The table was set for the Kings to go, for all intents and purposes, at the very minimum 4-2 on this homestand if they win tonight. But they get the doors blown off, like you talk about.
Yeah.
Last year, when we look at the Milwaukee game at home, we were like, you know what? That might have shown us more in a loss than any win this season. What did this show us positively tonight?
Nothing.
Basically, the Kings conceded the inside to a team that didn't even have their starting guy in Al Horford. They let Porzingis boss them around. You had Keita. And here's a great point, Grant, and we can talk about this a little bit later in the show about deals and if the Kings make any. But we talk about players that don't fit systems, right? Keita has been in the Kings organization in their back pocket for 2 years, I believe.
2 years.
He goes to the Boston 3 years. He goes to the Boston Celtics. Okay. Oh, no, I'm sorry. I thought you said 3.
No, I think 2 years. Yeah. You were right. Yeah. Anyway, but it doesn't matter.
So
yeah.
He goes to the Boston Celtics, a guy that they cut in favor of JaVale McGee, the Kings, and Alex Len. He goes to the Boston Celtics. He's playing a very important role right now for that team, and he was a force inside. So it shows for this Kings roster, Grant, that guys that might not be fitting right now or getting minutes or not fulfilling their roles could still be desirable for other teams out there that are contenders.
Great point. Got a really nice message from Brian Bennett, Bennett's Westside Grill. Bennett's in Sacramento, Bennett's in Roseville. The gentleman that had taken his wife to Bennett's, who had traveled 2,600 miles, wrote a beautiful review complimenting Bennett's, and Brian forwarded that to me and wanted to thank me. And I said, no, I thank you for your support of this show. And listen, if you're a restaurateur, if you're in any form of business, even the business that we're in, you like compliments. You want people to go, wow, hey, you know what? I sampled whatever it is that you're selling, and I really enjoyed it, and I'm going to sample it some more. So I really appreciate that individual for taking the time out to write a very nice review. Brian did see it, and he is grateful for you and the fact that you visited his restaurant and had such a great experience. Go to bennettsrestaurants.com. Make a reservation, check out their menu, and you'll love it. Prime Seafood and Steak, they're awesome. Bennett's Westside Grill, their newest of their 3 locations in Rockland. All right, so tonight, the Sacramento Kings have the table set to go 4-0 on this homestand with a disappointing Phoenix coming in next, and then the Minnesota Timberwolves on the second night of a back-to-back. So, I mean, I still think 4-2 is very realistic. I don't have a good feeling about the Minnesota game on the second night of a back-to-back, but I do have a good feeling about the next game against Phoenix. Phoenix has been, to me, as disappointing as any team in the West right now.
Well, they're a front-loaded team with their starters, and half of them sometimes can't get on the court. Bradley Beal out now a couple weeks. So he will not be playing, but Phoenix is Phoenix, Grant. If you can't, you have to choose. Is it going to be Durant or is it going to be Booker? It can't be both of them, and both of them have been Kings killers in the past. So
all right, they want us to get on the coaching. I'm not getting on the coaching because there's only so much Mike Brown can do. I mean, I love the timeout he called when they didn't come out and close out on a 3 by White. Malik Monk was just napping, and Mike Brown walked onto the court, called the timeout, he literally walked to the lane and turned right around, sat down, and chewed their ass out during the entire timeout. Okay? I don't know what else you want Mike Brown to do. He can't go out and play for the guys, okay? So we're talking about the unanimous coach of the year last year. He hasn't forgotten how to coach, all right? And here's the other deal. Yeah, the Kings lost tonight. They're still 16-10. All right, it's not chopped liver. They're still 16-10, okay? They have wins against the top seed Minnesota Timberwolves this year in Minnesota. They have 2 wins against the second seed Oklahoma City Thunder. So, they just lost to a team tonight that's arguably the best team in basketball. And you want me to get on Mike Brown? I'm sorry, I'm not getting on Mike Brown. I'm not. He didn't lose the game tonight.
Mike Brown didn't lose the game, but I think the comment's fair. There were a couple times where I thought challenges may have been called or should have been called, did not happen. And I think the failure to adjust, it looked like Sacramento had very little game plan in this game for defending Boston, and Boston had every game plan for Sacramento's players.
All right, here you go. The challenge was bad again. All right. I don't disagree with that. The decision not to play JaVale McGee. The Kings fans make JaVale McGee out to be this Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Would you stop it already with JaVale McGee? JaVale McGee is a journeyman player, okay? He's a journeyman, all right? What does that mean? It means that he goes from team to team to team. Doesn't mean he sucks. Doesn't mean he can't play, but he is what he is, okay? You're expecting JaVale McGee to walk on the floor and play like an all-star. Well, he's not an all-star, all right? Stop it with this JaVale McGee. There are games where he is going to play well, but there were games where he's not going to play well. And the reality is when Alex Len was playing, he was playing better than JaVale McGee. So, let's calm down a little bit on JaVale McGee, please.
I disagree. I completely disagree in this sense. This is why. The Kings they are usually very good on the offensive boards. Yep. They gave up 14 tonight. The Kings were dominated the boards 50-37 Boston. Yep. Mike Brown knew that if McGee goes on the floor, defense may improve a little bit and at least change the pace, but offense is going way down because that's why you were playing the small ball with Trey Lyles at the 5. So when he brought JaVale in, it was a change of pace. I think it was, the Kings were getting killed inside and Mike Brown didn't adjust to it or at least throw something at it like he normally does.
Okay, so you would have liked, and that's a very good point, and I like when you disagree with me. How many minutes would have you liked to see McGee play tonight? He ended up playing a total of 12 minutes, and in 12 minutes, he had 4 points and 3 rebounds in 12 minutes. And again, he's the type of player where the numbers won't really tell the story because of defense. But you tell me, how many minutes would have you liked to have seen him on the floor?
I think 12 to 15 is right around the number, but it's not the amount of minutes. It's when the minutes happened. I mean, we're talking about the majority of the minutes he got was in garbage time. By the time he came in and started to have a little bit of an effect on the inside where he had 3 or 4 blocks in a couple of minutes, I want to say, the game was out of hand. So if it felt like a second quarter substitution, Mike Brown, if that was a backcourt issue, he would have gone to.
All right, and I would also, I left out a key stat with him. He had actually 4 blocks in this game. So, that was it. All right, but he played 12 minutes. But in tonight's game, not on the season, I think you said 12 to 15. I meant tonight. How many minutes would you have liked to seen him play tonight? He played 12 minutes.
Right around there. Okay. Right around there at most.
So why are we second guessing Mike Brown if he played the amount of minutes you wanted to see him play tonight?
We're second guessing Mike Brown because of the time that JaVale played those minutes. The team responded
in the specific point of when he was on the floor.
Correct.
JaVale, not necessarily the minutes, but the placement of when he went into the game.
100%. Okay. JaVale McGee did not check into the game until the third quarter, midway through the third, after Porzingis was getting whatever he wanted in the paint. And I think the Celtics had 3 offensive rebounds.
You think the Kings would have won the game if JaVale McGee had played 30 minutes tonight?
No. Okay. No, but what I am saying is the Kings may have found a matchup defensively or something that would have helped stunt some of those runs or that big run in the third.
Hey, Dash, you know what? I'm not making excuses. You can't handle the freaking truth, okay? Here's the truth. The Boston Celtics are a much better team than the Sacramento Kings, period, okay? And I don't give a damn who Mike Brown puts on the floor, okay? You're not beating the Boston Celtics, okay? So I don't want to hear about like I'm making excuses. I'm not making any excuses. Even Ryan, who disagrees with me on this, made some great points. He feels like I do. It wouldn't have mattered if JaVale McGee played 3 times the amount of minutes, although he's not necessarily talking about the minutes, and I get that. Kings fans over the years, this is the one thing I found about them. They're not willing to admit the truth, and they're not willing to admit when it's obvious what the real answer is. Okay. The Kings got blown out tonight, and Mike Brown's got 13 players that he can choose from to figure it out. The game wasn't close. Now, if the game was a 5 to 8 point game, I would say, hey, let's really dissect the hell out of this and let's talk about all the minutes. Let's talk about the substitution placement. Let's talk about all of that. But you know what the final score was tonight? It was 144 to 119. Okay? 144 to 119. So I'm going to ask you, are we really going to dissect the rotations? Here's what I do know. The Boston Celtics tonight in the second half scored 70 points. All right? In the first half, they scored over 70 points. You know what's going to happen when you allow 70 plus points and a half in the NBA? You're going to lose.
Yeah.
Okay? You're going to lose. And there's nothing that Mike Brown could have done to win this game, in my opinion. So it's not excuses, in my opinion. It's the reality. All right? And listen, I'm fine if you disagree with me, just like Ryan disagreed with me. I love this. Okay? Here, how are we sugarcoating this? What do you want me to say? Did I sugarcoat that? You can't. I'm not sugarcoating this. I'm just trying to let everyone know that Kings fans, as much as I love them, are stubborn sometimes, just like fans on other teams. And sometimes your stubbornness has you walking around with blinders on. The Boston Celtics are a much better team than Sacramento, period. And I can accept that. That's just fine. That's the way it is. Maybe next year it won't be that way. But right now, that's the way it is.
Yeah, the Celtics are a better team. I think the dissecting point here is that the Kings almost shot 50% from behind the 3-point line, which is their bread and butter. And they lost by 30-some points. And really, it's a microcosm for the bigger thing on the season. You look at the differential. We've talked about it till we're blue in the face, Grant. But the Kings at home, they're scoring almost 20 points less, in losses. The Kings are scoring 20 points less than they are in wins. Think about that. 20 points less. So where's that coming from? And it free throws tonight, Grant. Free throws, 12 of 23. 23 is not enough against a team like Boston, but you can't shoot 52.2%. So it's these little points. And if you want to talk about Kings fans sugarcoating, the problem is they get a lot of sugar too. You're watching, if you're watching the home telecast, you're hearing, well, it's hard for the team sometimes during the holidays because they have commitments in the community and they might have might have family in town.
Please tell me that. Please tell me that wasn't said on TV. Please tell me that.
100% was said right in the midst of the run in the third quarter.
Can I interrupt you for a minute? Can I interrupt you? I want every single Kings fan to listen to me, for somebody that's done the NBA every single year for 32 years. That is bullshit. Okay? Anyone that's on TV telling you it's the holidays and families in town and all of that, they're lying to you. Anyone that says that on TV is lying to you. And you know what else they're doing? They're destroying their credibility. Okay? They're destroying their credibility. That is the biggest crock of shit that I've heard since I started doing this show with Ryan over a year ago. Anyone that's telling you that is delusional and is absolutely lacking credibility. That is the stupidest freaking thing that I ever heard of. Are you kidding me? Really?
No,
the Kings
100%.
are distracted because it's the holidays and they have family in town? You got to be freaking kidding me.
No,
Please.
being on a homestand like this during this time of year is extremely difficult because it limits practice time. It puts the players more in the public for events, Christmas giveaways, whatever it may be.
Bullshit.
And sometimes they have family in town. So you got to think about that as well.
Really? Did it have film on the first 3 games of this homestand?
It did not.
It did
It
not.
did not.
So that when they beat Oklahoma City during the holidays, with all the stuff going on in the community,
Right.
did it look to you like the Kings were affected by anything that was going on with family and holidays? Did
They
it
look
look? I'm just asking you a question. Did it look like that to you?
No, they look pretty good to me, Grant.
Did it look like
Yeah.
that to you when they played the Jazz?
No,
Did it look
not a
like that to
chance.
you when they played Washington, although that was a high-scoring game and a shootout? Here's the deal. Stop with the excuses and stop with the nonsense. Can we just deal with the reality of the situation, please? The reality is the Kings are a good team. They're a good team. You want to debate me on that? Let's go. They're a good team, okay? They're not a great team. They're a good team. We saw a great team tonight, okay? That's a great team. The
Yep.
Kings are a good team. So now you see where the Kings are and where you would like them to go, okay? The question is, can they get there with this roster? And I contend that's a yes and a no. Yes, they can, but not when the players that I'm counting on, Herter, Barnes, and to a degree, Keegan on a night-to-night basis, are as inconsistent as they are. Now, I give Keegan more credit. I think he's been playing much better lately, all right?
Yeah.
But I look at the personnel and I'm going, yeah. But then I've said this to everyone, Ryan, and I've said this to you. Maybe we overvaluate and overrate the players that we watch every night because we see when Herter's playing well. We see when Barnes plays well, and we're like, wow. But then we don't see it for the next 2 games or the next 3 games. But yet we see it, and we know in our mind, well, we've seen these guys go through stretches before where they can play very well, and we keep waiting, and we keep waiting for that to resurface. And it hasn't. And so the answer to my question, can they get to the next level, is a yes and a no, because I've seen it at times. But the difference between the Kings and a team like Boston is consistency. The Kings don't have consistency yet.
Yep.
That to me is their biggest issue.
Yeah, no, spot on. It's a great point. And I think when you ask, can the Kings get there? I agree they're a good team, but I think we would have to see a Minnesota team, a dominant first quarter, first half of this season to say that this is a complete team. Even if they were inconsistent, we would have to see that kind of run to say they're complete. And we don't see it. This is a team that ran it back. And Grant, our eyes, they tell us, look, Herter, he can shoot. The next one's going to go in. The next one's going to go in. But the reality is the numbers aren't lying. The numbers are the numbers, and they're a little bit alarming in certain areas. So I think a move has to be made. Now, the caveat is it doesn't have to be a big move. It can be a move.
How about this? Vegas forgot to account for a Kings player's distraction during a holiday. Going to be worse Friday and Saturday since closer to Christmas. Oh, my gosh. Oh, wow. I'm telling you right now. Is that beautiful or what?
That's a good one. That's a really good one.
Kings
Well done,
need
Jeff.
to cancel games on Christmas. I don't watch the Kings games. I don't watch the home telecast. I haven't watched it in 3 years. That's embarrassing. That is flat out embarrassing. It's embarrassing. You, as a consumer, should not have to listen to that garbage. You shouldn't have to listen to that garbage. That's disgraceful. Disgraceful. Wow.
It's a little bit different, but
a little bit different. Can you imagine saying that? Can you imagine saying that during a home Philadelphia game or a home Knicks game? Or, I mean, can you imagine Walt Frazier going on MSG in the middle of the third, whenever it was, and said, the Kings, New York City is the #1 holiday destination in the world. People come in to watch Rockefeller Center. They want to see the Christmas tree. They want to go ice skating. And, the players have to do a lot of things, and they got family in, and they're really distracted. And so it's really hard to play home games at Madison Square Garden during the holidays. Oh my God.
He would have got a Santa in Philadelphia reception.
Oh my gosh. All right. Hey, if you have any plumbing issues or repairs, they're not distracted at all during the holidays. They're going to be there for you. All right. Trust me. If you have any plumbing needs or repairs, sackserviceplumbing.com or call the number on your screen. New Works Plumbing, they've got a fix for you. Again, sackserviceplumbing.com, 24/7 service, newworksplumbing.com. they've got a fix for you. Kings get blown out tonight. And next up, the Phoenix Suns. There you have it.
We turned our attention there, Grant. This Phoenix game, Grant, really should not be close. You look at the Kings' depth, and you look at Phoenix's lack of depth off the bench, and Beal out.
Yeah, I mean, Beal's out for a couple more weeks. The guy that concerns me more than anyone on the Phoenix Suns is Devin Booker. Normally, when the Kings lose to the Suns, it's because of Devin Booker, right?
Yep, that's fair. We haven't seen Durant in a Suns uniform.
That's right.
We have not seen Durant in a Suns uniform.
Yeah. Good point. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah,
that's a very, very good point. By the way, all the messages have been coming in so fast, I haven't been able to thank people for their donations, but you all are amazing. And I want to say thank you very much. I have seen them, but again, the messages tonight are coming in fast and furious. All right. So speaking of the holidays, you want to do something for us for the holidays? We would be grateful if you would subscribe. Just hit the subscribe button. Also, give us a thumbs up. Hit the like button. If you want to help us out during the holidays, we would love for you to do that. All right. Thumbs up, like button, and hit the subscribe button. Really appreciate all the donations, and you all are great. It means a lot, All right.
Yeah. Grant, I think you owe him an international check-in. We haven't checked in yet. How rude of us.
All right, NBA guru Zach here. What's up with those 30-point losses once a week? I don't know, Zach. Oh my gosh. All right, how come we're not going to discuss trades that we would like to see? All right, I would like to see the Kings trade JaVale McGee to the Boston Celtics for Jason Tatum. There you go. There's a trade.
Yeah.
No, I mean, the reason why I don't discuss trades is because they very rarely happen. And I don't like to waste my time on make-believe fantasy stuff. That's why I don't play fantasy sports, because it's fantasy. Why am I going to discuss trades that are never going to happen? Right? I've been hearing about Zach LaVine now for 5 years. 5 years the Kings are going to get Zach LaVine. 5 years. They gave him an offer sheet. The Bulls matched it in 2 minutes. Still going after Zach LaVine. Here we are. It's almost 2024. Zach LaVine still not on the Kings. I'm glad I haven't talked that much about Zach LaVine. I don't like to talk about trades that rarely happen. Now, when they do happen, I'll be all over them.
Well, to be fair, a name that's been thrown around in Sacramento a lot is Pascal Siakam. Right now, he is in a period until the 30th of this month or the 31st of this month in which he can sign a 4-year extension with any team he is traded to. If he is traded beyond that date, it can only be a 2-year extension. So if the Kings covet him that much, Grant, there could be movement there.
Okay, there you have it. Good point. And I'm very happy that you clarified that. All right, NBA guru Zach is here. Grant said ramp meter studies are wrong. Yeah, they are wrong. You want to know why they're wrong? I'll tell you why they're wrong. Because I don't use studies. I use my eyes and I use common sense. Okay, so the studies are being done by the people that want it to look good, because the cities are spending millions and millions of dollars of the taxpayers' money to do something that is stupid and makes no sense. So, yeah, I don't need to see a report. I don't need to see studies, because I drive and I have eyes, common sense, eyes, common sense, eyes. I see. I have a brain, not a full brain. Most people would admit to that. And so metered ramps are the stupidest thing that I've seen in all my years of driving a motor vehicle. There is nothing more absurd, more stupid than ramps on meters getting on to a freeway. It is the stupidest thing I have ever seen, period. Thanks,
I can think of Zach, NBA guru. He got glossed that, I guess, last year when we were doing this show.
Here's NBA guru Zach. Numbers don't lie. Your eyes are wrong. Get some glasses. No, Zach, you want to be right, so you maintain your employment. Okay. You want to be right because that's your job. You're trying to save your job. And listen, I don't want your job and I don't want you to lose your job. I like you. I think you're great and you're very entertaining and I enjoy conversing with you. But metered ramps are a waste of money, time, and gas, period. All right, let's move on. So, is there anything else that we need to add about this game on this very interesting post-game show that we haven't done yet?
No. Keep an eye out for Malik Monk. He wasn't quite himself tonight.
Yeah.
That right foot. See if there's anything more to that. But gear up for a big back-to-back. Friday, Saturday night, and G1C. Bring it. You know what I'm noticing right now, Sack? There's levels. There's levels to the fandom right now at the games. The fans tonight brought it. Like, it was loud right off the bat. We need that for fans. There were
Celtics fans in the house too.
There were, and it was a little bit of a high school game atmosphere. But bring it on Friday night against the Suns.
All right. Hey, don't forget to go to CalusaSunrise.com and check out the development from Blazona Development. It is Sunrise Landing, 6 models to choose from. No Mellorews, no homeowners. Phase 1 already sold out. Check out all of these beautiful homes at Calusa Sunrise. Just go to CalusaSunrise.com and you can check out everything that they have to offer. That's Sunrise Landing from Blazona Development. Kings get destroyed tonight. And as we said, next up, the Phoenix Suns and the Minnesota Timberwolves. Thank you, my friend. We had good dialogue tonight. Here's what I've always said about the Kings fans. I love them. Disagree, agree. We get into it sometimes, right? Love you guys, girls, whatever. Because you're passionate. Because you care.
Yeah.
I don't like fan bases that you go into a city and the place has got 5,000 fans and no one gives a damn. And in Houston, you think anyone calls Sean's show and talks about the Houston Rockets? Nobody talks about the Rockets in Houston, and they're having a good year. They don't talk about the Rockets. No.
Yeah, about once every 4 weeks of Grant and Sean before the show starts. Hey, Sean, anybody talking about the Rockets right now? Middle of basketball season?
I know.
No, still talking about the Astros.
Yeah. So, again, I love Sacramento because the fans give a damn. And again, we're not always going to agree. Ryan and I don't always agree. But I'm not afraid to admit the truth. And the truth is the Kings are a good team, but they're not a championship caliber team. We've seen it too often. And that's fine because 2 years ago, they weren't in the playoffs. You're not supposed to go from not making the playoffs to be a championship team in a span of 15 months. It very rarely works like that unless you draft the next super generational player in the draft. All right. So I like the Kings trajectory right now. Okay. I like it. I'm happy with it. But they're not a championship team. And so they got blown out tonight by a championship caliber team. I'm not going to lose sleep on it tonight. It's okay. It just, to me, reinforces where this team is at. They're a good team, but they're not a great team. And I can live with that. Those are my closing thoughts.
I think you're spot on, partner. And Grant, don't forget, they're flexible. They've left contingency there to make moves. So a lot can still be done.
All right. We will be
Grant.
Yeah.
Grant, I don't like your shirt tonight. You should go shopping for a new shirt somewhere.
All right, I'm going to go shopping for it. I think I'm going to go to ifyoudon'tlikethat.com, and I'm going to go to shop and then click on the link, and I'm going to buy myself some new shirts with some new merch from Grant Napier, if you don't like that. How's that for you?
There you go. Coffee cups, everything. Go check it out.
Hats, shirts, hoodies. We got it all,
We got it all.
Love it. By the way, again, just go to my website, ifyoudon'tlikethat.com, and you can then click on shop, and then the link is right there, and it will get you right to the store. All right. Hey, Ryan, good job today with everything. Thanks for filling in for me at halftime with Jerry. Great job on the pregame show, and we'll talk to you for the Kings and the Suns.
Can't wait. My pleasure, Grant.
Hey, everyone, thank you very much. Love your passion. Don't ever stop with your passion. Agree or disagree. Love you all. Freaking awesome. All right. Another game, 16-10, fifth in the West. All right, the sky's not falling. The beam's not lit, but the sky's still there. Don't worry about it. Get back on track. 3-1 on the homestand so far. We all thought we would take 4-2. It's right there. Go get it. Talk to you soon. So long.